Alright guys, welcome back to Task Force Off-Road. If you're new here, my name is George, and today we're going to be working with my brother-in-law's 2020 Jeep Gladiator. Now what we're going to be doing to this is actually putting the 7-inch radio from my 2018 Jeep Wrangler into his Gladiator, because he has the 4 or 5-inch Uconnect 3. So it's going to be a nice little upgrade since I upgraded mine. This is going to be a fairly simple install, and we're going to note the things you need to do this, so let's get into it. Okay, so the first thing we're going to need are some plastic pry tools, and that's going to be to remove this bezel right here that houses our ignition and our climate control stack. Is remove the kick panel here to give us access. Okay, now from there we just disconnect our climate control stack and our ignition. Now, we're actually going to need to remove our climate controls from this bezel to put new climate controls in. So, we'll be doing that in a moment, but I'm going to put this aside for now and we're going to get the radio out. So now, we can take our 7mm or a Phillips head screwdriver and take these two bolts out in the bottom of the bezel, and this is how we're going to remove our radio itself. So put those in the cup holder as to not lose them, and we can just pull this guy out. Come on. Oh, there we go. Now you're going to need a new bezel as well, so we're not going to reuse these, but with your new bezel you might need to reuse these clips. So, save those clips. And now, we just have to unscrew the radio itself with the 4 screws in the corners. Okay. Now with that done, we can remove the radio and unplug it, just like that. White, blue, USB, red, and this guy. And there's the radio. So now we can take this guy out. Alright, so now here is our 7-inch display. So we're going to go ahead and plug this guy in. Okay. Now I'll just put that guy in. I'll throw 1 or 2 screws in, and we can test it. Actually, I won't throw screws in because you know what we're gonna need to do is we're gonna need to play with it to find out the security code. Okay, now we can test it. Set that there for a split second. Let's get some power up in here. All right, we got power. The radio will kick on. It should prompt us with the security code. And let's see if I have the security code. Okay. Well, it works. I just don't have the code, which is going to be fun. So we won't have radio use out of it. But it'll work for climate and stuff, which is good. So I'll start putting that away for now. And then from there, we can go and slap this guy in. Our new bezel. I'll put part numbers in the description for all this stuff. And now what we need to do is I'm going to turn this off actually. Kill power. And now what I need to do is swap over this climate control to the new one. Now the only thing I'm not going to give you part numbers to is the climate control stack, because there's about 30 or 40 different ones you could have, whether you have a JL Wrangler, a JT Gladiator, and then what options you have. So that's kind of going to come down to you guys and figuring out what your vehicle has and what you need. So I'm going to get to that right now. So to swap it, it's going to be fairly simple. It looks like it's just going to be a bunch of 6mm bolts, and then this should be able to unclip out. So I'm going to go get the socket. Okay, and now that this is out, we can put our new one in. Nice and simple. Now that that's out, we can put our new one in, and we can just start some of these. Would you know? If you're going to use a screw gun like me, strongly suggest starting the screws first. Now we find the one I lost. Okay, with our new climate control unit in, we just have to swap over the tabs, and then we're done with this part. So, almost there. Alright, now that these are all in, we can just go and connect it. Actually, hold the flippin' phone here. I gotta screw this bezel down. Okay. Now that that's screwed in, we can go and reconnect this. We got a plug here. And we got a plug here. And then we put her in. That'll just snap right in. Now, to make your dual climate control work, you need two sensors. Some of the vehicles might have come with one of the sensors. This vehicle came with one of the sensors, and that is your sunlight sensor. I forget the exact name for it. Again, part number will be in the description. The second sensor is going to be your cabin air temperature sensor. Now, if you have, I think, a 2018 to a 2019 JL, your Jeep will not be pre-wired for this. However, I think 2020 and up, it will be wired, and there'll be a plug for it. The other ones won't have the plug, but the wires will be there. You'll be able to do it. You'll just have to make your own wiring harness. So, for us, we just have to plug this guy in, and the plug for this guy is going to live right under the kick panel, right under the ignition. So we're gonna go down there, we're gonna plug it in, and we're gonna put it in place. Okay, so this guy is gonna end up living right here. Like so, it fits right in. There's a spot for two little screws. If we don't have the screws, we'll have to get some screws. But first we need to find the wiring. And we can basically fish our hand up here and get to that wiring. Here it is. You see, you might not be able to see it on camera, but it is there. It is barely poking out right here. You can see that wiring. Okay, so we're gonna plug this guy in. Oh, and that'll mount right there like that. I just gotta get some screws for it. And with that mounted up, we can then go ahead and reinstall our kick plate. And with that, the installation is done. So now what we're gonna need to do is go into the Jeep's computer and flash it. So we got the J-Scan, which is the cheapest way to do it. You can also go and get everything plug and play from Infotainment. They're gonna give you an OBD reader to make everything work as well. Or you can, if you have the Taser JL Mini, so the most expensive Taser JL, you can do it with that as well. So once I get the security code from the dealership tomorrow, I'll bring both Jeeps over. That way they know I'm not messing around. And we'll get the radio itself working, and we'll be able to go from there. So video pause until tomorrow. Okay guys, it is the next day, and I got the code, so we're all good. The radio works perfectly, just as it did out of my Jeep. If you buy a radio online, make sure it has the code before you buy it. Talk to the seller. And if you're in my situation where you have both of the vehicles, you should be able to go to the dealership with both patrons who own both said vehicles and be able to get the code, or the seller would be able to get the code. Or if it's out of your vehicle and you just need to get the code because you unplugged it for some reason, you can get the code from your dealership. Go to the parts guy. The big thing is making sure, obviously it's an anti-theft code. They just want to make sure you didn't steal the vehicle or steal the radio. So with all that good to go, I got my code, we get the radio working, so now we have to make sure the climate stack works and all that other jazz. So what we need to do is activate some stuff within the OBD2 reader, and to do that with the Jeep, I'm gonna close the door for a second. So there's a couple ways to do it. We're gonna use this Bluetooth OBD2 reader and connect to the JScan app, and we're also going to need this to do so, which will then deactivate some of the safety securities within the Jeep and be able to get into the OBD2 and mess with the Jeep's computer. So we're gonna do that right now. All right, guys, so we're a little later, and the radio install's done on the truck. You're not seeing my Jeep right now because, well, some things have changed, and that's in a future video, and you can't find out about that yet. But, so let's go in here. Don't hit the jet ski. Perfect, okay. So, I have one issue with this that I haven't been able to solve yet. So the issue is, when I put it in reverse, I don't get the entire screen here. That is the only thing wrong with this radio right now, all right? Other than that, everything works exactly as it's supposed to. Now, you need to know what to use inside of JScan to get this to work. So I'm gonna open up my JScan app, and I'll read off to you exactly what you need. All right, cool, modules. All right, we're gonna go to adaptation. From adaptation, we need to find HVAC. It's gonna be miscellaneous settings, HVAC configuration. So then we find our HVAC configuration, and from HVAC configuration, you need to kind of play with it. Every vehicle is a little different. I needed to use dual zone automatic without the rear function. There's ones with rear function and without rear function, but to get everything to work properly, dual zone automatic, so it's DCT, I believe, DCTA, and then no rear. You'll see there's rear functions and non-rear functions, and that's what gets it to work properly in the truck. Now, other than that, the only other function that didn't fully work with the Jeep, it's not even a function, but the recirculation. It's not a picture of a Jeep anymore. It's a picture of like a Chrysler 200. So not a big deal, but everything else works perfectly fine in the truck. It is so much better than the 5-inch. And honestly, it's kind of a must-have upgrade if you have that 5-inch and you have the ability to get your hands on a cheaper 7-inch. If not, you can always upgrade and go aftermarket like I did in my Jeep. With that being said, guys, please like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate all the support you guys give me. We have a lot more videos coming this summer. A lot of stuff's coming to the channel. A lot of stuff's changing. So very, very exciting. I hope you guys stick around to see it. I'll see you guys in the next video. Take it easy.
Yeah, it's that first day of first grade. That cute girl, your third day. That backpack, that snapback you've had since the third grade. The first time you got laid, the worst time you